The Weekly Warp Pipe.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Weekly Warp Pipe. We're doing a live broadcast of the show, so thank you, everyone, for being here. We're seeing if this is, maybe we're going to do it once a month. I don't know. We're kind of playing with something new, so we're going to have a lot of viewer interaction if you guys are here. If not, we're going to be posting the episodes as regular on Saturday and Wednesday at 7 a.m. for your viewing or hearing preference. What's up, Jay?
I'm actually, as we speak, I'm trying to get on YouTube to see like who's here.
Oh, you
So I
can't
can-
view, maybe because I'm the host, I can view all the comments on my end.
Yeah, I don't see any of those unless I go to maybe I'm on private chat. Let me switch to comments.
Yeah,
and see.
comments. Yeah, you'll be able to see the people.
Oh, there we go. Look at everybody. Waves and Games, Bloody Bones, David Apuzzo, JLove81, and the Dirk Gaming is the people that I'm seeing currently. Mike Nario? Sorry if I butchered your name, Mike. I can't read. And for
Well,
myself.
I'll say, speaking of mics, we do have a special guest on the episode tonight. We got my buddy, Mike Butler.
How's it going?
Welcome, Mike.
He's on a podcast called the Forgotten Cinema Podcast. They were, would you say, about 5 years you guys did the podcast?
5 years. Yeah, we just last summer, I think, is when we wrapped it up for a little while. We came back, right before May. We get like a full 5 years. Dropped off for the summer. Came back to do our Forgotten Horror sequence, which is basically the entire month of October. We do horror films. We came back. We put it on YouTube as well. So originally we were just an audio podcast. We do fun commercials, little ads and spoofs on the movies that we do. We have over 200 episodes already in the can that we've already done. And we're coming back May 1st after taking our little sabbatical, and we're coming back in a big way. We've got our full series coming up. We're going to cover not just Forgotten so I should say Forgotten Cinema is a podcast that covers forgotten films that seem to be forgotten by audiences, whether they be forgotten because of time or audiences kind of dropped off in interest in them. We talk about those movies, what goes into making them, facts about the movies, and what we thought about them. And so we did that for a bunch of episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Coming back, we're going to do live episodes. We're going to do new movie releases as well, alongside of our regular seasons of forgotten films. And we just started our Patreon as well, where we're going to start doing things like our first episode just dropped today, actually, for Forgotten Lead Up, where we lead up to a series like we're doing Ghostbusters
Nice.
2, Answer the Call, and Afterlife, leading up to our full review of Frozen Empire when that comes out later this month.
Nice.
Man, can't wait.
We got a whole bunch of stuff in the can.
Yeah, David Apuzzo messaged me. He already got tickets for it. He's like, I got some extra ones. You want to come? If I can find a babysitter. Now, me and Mike used to work together for many years at a movie theater.
Yeah.
So it was pretty fun hanging out there, chatting movies. So he has that background of enjoying movies. We were assistant managers together. So oftentimes we'd be at the box office just shooting the breeze about movies.
I feel like that's a job that I should have done in my life, and I totally didn't.
It worked at the movies.
It's okay if you didn't.
The perks are,
it's got perks.
It would have been
Right.
fun.
It's not all sunshine and roses.
You do get
I
cool
can- I
movie
can
posters.
Like this.
What'd you
Oh,
get?
I can't. That's
You can't pan. Don't mess up your camera, Jay.
hang on. That's true.
Oh, nice. The Home Alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've gotten tons of movie posters and banners. I have like what does it have to be? 4 feet by like 16 feet. The Pacific Rim banner that we had in the lobby.
All the old lobby banners that are gigantic.
Yeah, I'm like, one day I'm going to have someplace big enough to put this up.
I've got a couple of them rolled up. I put them in my parents' house, and I can't figure out what to do with them.
The only two I have is Home Alone, and I got Dude, Where's My Car?
Oh, nice.
I have so many that I can't open my trunk of my car. I just used to take the ones that I liked home,
Yeah.
and now I've just got, if you open the trunk of my car to put like groceries, you're going to find it impossible. Like, can't even get to the spare tire. It's just poster tubes, just hundreds of posters.
Wow, just still in your car, huh?
There's no other place to put them at the moment, so
Fair enough.
they're protected in the cardboard. They're dry. It's a good place for them.
Fair enough.
Somebody wrote shitty. That's awesome.
So I wanted to bring Mike onto the podcast because he's part of the Forgotten Cinema podcast, and we're talking about forgotten movies. So I thought it'd be good to have a guest on here. we weren't sure if we were going to do 80s or 90s, but we stuck with 90s. So I think we wrote down 5 movies that we thought perhaps were forgotten, and we'll discuss them a little bit. And we'll head over to our social medias as well later in the episode to see what you guys said. Respect the Wheels talking here says, I'm really banking on this podcast opening up with the limited release of the 93 classic Super Mario Brothers. I will say, though, I don't think that's really forgotten, though. I feel like it's become a cult classic where everyone knows that movie for whether it being bad or bad, so bad it's good, right?
Kind of the criteria that I used is if I forgot about it, it made the list. So I didn't base it on whether I thought a lot of people forgot. I was like, oh, I forgot that movie existed. Yeah.
Fair enough. I did want to say, I forgot to bring up, I was on Forgotten Cinema podcast. We did cover the Mortal Kombat movie.
Oh yeah.
So we got to discuss that, and me and Mike got to do a fun commercial where I came out dressed as Scorpion and you had a Raiden outfit on.
Oh, that's awesome.
Party City Raiden.
Wait, can I find that clip on YouTube?
Oh yeah, it's up there. Here? Yeah, you can get that.
Forgotten Cinema Mortal Kombat, I guess, commercial.
Yeah, it should pop up.
Yes, here we go. 39 seconds. Let's see here. Share the screen and show you guys this classic one here.
I hope there's a get over here.
Where are they?
All right, I am ready.
What is this?
What is this? I'm ready for the Mortal Kombat episode.
You realize that we're just recording a podcast. We're not doing video. It's just audio. No one's actually going to see you.
All right, let's do this. Russ, looking good.
All right, man. Woo! Yeah.
I love the bobbing.
Woo! Round 1. Fight.
That looks so awesome.
That was a good one. So if you guys want to check out that episode, that was a while ago. I was on there chatting about the movie and the video games. Sweet. All right, so we'll jump into the list. I guess we'll have Mike go as our guest to start us off, right?
Yeah, and can I just say one thing real quick before you start, Mike? If you have any information on any of these movies that I'm going to list that I have forgotten existed, please feel free, because I don't know much about them except the little blurb that I snapped on screenshot of. So.
Fair enough.
Maybe.
Yeah. and we'll see. I'm going to see if we have any overlaps. Most times me and Jay do end up having the same choices. So we'll see how that goes.
We'll see.
I'm not sure if I'll have any overlap, but we'll see. All of mine are based on forgotten films we have covered in the past on Forgotten Cinema.
Okay.
Are we going best? Like, are these in any particular order?
I didn't put them in any order. I just listed 5 and random. What's funny enough, 4 out of the 5 movies that I listed are also NES games.
What?
So there's a little tidbit for you. Yeah,
like
4 out
there's
of
NES
the 5.
games based on them, or they're actually based on games.
Wait, no, sorry, I got looking back. 3 out of the 5 are NES games, like based on the movie. So the movie came out and they made an NES game.
Okay, I was gonna say I didn't think there were that many movies based on games.
No. So
Double Dragon, Mortal Kombat, Mario. I can't think of any of the 90s movies.
Sweet. All right, what do you got, Mike?
I guess my first one is probably also my top pick.
Okay.
And that's 1995's Strange Days. This is a movie that I hadn't heard of until we did the podcast. I can't remember why we even did it. I think I brought up a concept and then Field was like, oh, that sounds like this film. And we couldn't find it anywhere at the time. This film is now on HBO Max because, they're desperate. Everyone's thirsty for content. So they actually put all their old movies on there.
Yeah.
But this movie disappeared, but it was written by James Cameron, directed by Catherine Bigelow. And this was back when they were married. So James Cameron was going to direct this movie, but then I think he was directing, maybe he just came off of Terminator or something. So he didn't want to do it or couldn't do it. So he gave it to Catherine Bigelow, his wife at the time. And she's a big time director as well. And it stars Ralph Fiennes, Angela Bassett, Juliette Lewis, Tom Sizemore, Vincent D'Onofrio, William Fichtner. It's got a a great cast. And I had never even heard of this movie before, and it's 1999, the far future when this movie comes out, kind of like in Demolition Man. And basically, LA is a war zone between, gangs and racial discrimination from police officers. And there's this technology out called a squid, and these squids can record your memories and your dreams and basically play them back on a device, so you can re-experience everything you did before, or buy someone you want to be president of the United States for a day, buy the president's, memories of him giving the State of the Union address or some stuff like that.
Okay.
Weird.
Yeah, it's really bizarre. And Ray Fiennes is an ex-cop who now deals in like seedy versions of these squid things, and he gives them out to people. And his only thing he doesn't do is if somebody gets killed, he doesn't do those. And they have a special name, I forgot what they call them. But he doesn't basically do snuff tapes. But he'll deal in like sex tapes and action, soldier stuff, all that kind of stuff. And kind of like underground. And he gets this given the squid that is a murder of somebody he knows, actually. And at the same time, he's obsessed with this girl who is a prostitute who left him for a drug dealer. It's an incredibly strange movie. And the entire time he's trying to hunt a serial killer. And he ends up kind of stopping this race war or becoming involved in it. It's super bizarre. I'm not going to tell anybody it's the greatest movie ever.
Okay.
It sounds really involved.
It's super complex. I had to re-look up, and we only watched it like a year and a half ago, re-look up the summary because I was just like, I don't remember half the stuff that happens in this movie. Like, oh my God, I was like reading the synopsis. Oh yeah, that happens, and then that happens. But I grew up watching like Demolition Man, RoboCop. If you like any of those movies where it's like the far future, but it's kind of dirty and gritty and kind of realistic, it definitely fills that niche that like there's no movies like that right now. And so like I ate it up. I was like, oh, this is great. It's not perfect, but it is pretty good, and it's very, very unique. It's definitely worth a watch. It's really weird. We couldn't find it. Like obviously Field was able to find it because he's a movie guy. But now it's on HBO Max. So I definitely that's always my number one recommended pick for Forgotten Cinema in terms of like, I think it was the movie that I liked the best, even though it wasn't necessarily the best movie we did on Forgotten Cinema.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I can't say I've seen that one, but I do enjoy, like you said, Demolition Man and RoboCop, so I'm sure I can sit through a watch of it and enjoy it.
Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't sound like something for me. It's a little too involved.
Too involved. I need something easier.
Yeah, dumb it down a little bit.
They're saying you should turn on your sign, Jay.
Oh, it's not on. Yeah, it's usually on. Let me do that real fast. Sorry.
Jay has a fantastic KB World of Nintendo fiber optic sign in his game room. If you haven't seen
I knew
it,
something seemed off. That's what it was.
There we go.
There we go.
So fancy. All right, you want to go, Jay? What do you?
Yeah, why not? So I'll probably say this movie, and you guys will be like, "What are you talking about?" I completely remember that movie, but like I said, my criteria, I didn't remember when I was scrolling through IMDb or whatever it's called for 90s movies. I came across movie 126, which is 12 Monkeys. Totally forgot that movie existed. I'll read the synopsis.
Fair enough.
In a future world devastated by disease, a convict is sent back in time to gather information about the man-made virus that wiped out most of the human population on the planet. That's all I know about it because I never saw it. I'm assuming there's some monkeys involved and this dude that looks like Kano from Mortal Kombat because he has a red eye. That's all I know.
I'm trying to think if I actually remember seeing it or not. 12 Monkeys.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember the cover and everything. Right.
See, there's Kano.
There's Kano.
Sorry, I took it down too fast.
What do you say, Mike? You remember this movie?
I know this movie. It's been a long time since I've seen it. It's not really about monkeys. Although I
figured the monkeys had the virus. Is that not true?
The monkeys do have the virus, but it's not. The 12 Monkeys is the name of the group, I believe, that's supposed to be distributing the virus.
I see.
And Bruce Willis goes back in time, and Brad Pitt's, I think, the guy who ends up making it all happen, even though he's in an insane asylum. It's a super bizarre movie, but it's definitely worth a watch. But it's another one kind of like Strange Days where it's very, very involved. I remember watching the movie when it ended the first time I watched and still not knowing exactly what I watched.
Yeah,
I
I've
feel like
never seen it.
Uh-huh.
And I was only 14 in '95, so I probably was like, I don't want to see that.
Right, again,
Give me
another
Mighty Ducks 3.
pretty Mighty Ducks 3. I'll go to mine here. I guess sticking with these grim futuristic movies or whatever. I put on from 1990, director Sam Raimi, starring Liam Neeson. We got Dark Man.
Nice.
Man. Oh yeah, that is a video game. I have that game.
It is a
It's hard as
video
crap.
game. Yes. So this is almost like, I want to say they were trying to make. So I saw a comment on the trailer because I had to watch the trailer, and the comment summed it up. It said it was the best superhero movie that wasn't based on a comic book, basically. Like, there was no comic on this. They made the movie, and it was going for this like Batman-ish superheroes movie, I guess, so to say. And it was obviously dark. The gist of it is, I think it's a scientist, and he ends up. Yep, there's the game right there. I got it too. Dark Man.
If Batman and Dick Tracy had a baby.
Right. Like, he ends up burning his face in an explosion, right? But he's working on some skin grafting technique or whatever. So there's an explosion that goes off. I guess a group of people find the body and they end up saving him. But in doing so, he gets like added strength, and he can no longer feel pain, and he gets very aggressive. So with him trying to find out like who set him up or who tried to blow up, whatever, he can use this skin grafting technique to look like any person, but it only lasts, I think, for like 90 minutes because
So it's like Face Off before Face Off existed.
Right. So he usually has bandages all over his face and this and that, but he can put on someone else's face, but it deteriorates after a certain amount of time. Pretty neat concept. I don't hear a lot of people talking about that one that much. You know, it's pretty fun superhero. I think since then, I think there have been comic books made about that. And then again, somehow it got a freaking NES game. I never beat that one, so that'd be one maybe to stream. And I think it's just like a platformer.
It's incredibly slippery. Every time you jump, he's all over the place.
Jeez.
Game Dave did a really good review on it if you want to watch that.
Oh, okay. Yep. Game Dave's pretty reliable with his reviews, so.
That's right.
Dark Man. Pretty neat. All right, we'll loop back around to Mike, I guess, on your list here. What else we got?
All right, my next one on my list is Noises Off from 1992. It's a movie that stars Christopher Reeve, Michael Caine, Carol Burnett, Denholm Elliott, who's Brody from the Indiana Jones movies, and more people as well. And it's a movie about a director who's starting this play. The play's called Noises Off, and his Michael Caine is the director, and his whole cast are all kind of intertwined with each other in some way or another. Like, one's in a relationship with this one person broke up with this one person's trying to get with this person, and because of all this inner turmoil, they forget their lines, they stumble on stuff, one of them's a drunk, or they sabotage themselves during these performances, and it's a traveling play with hopes of going to Broadway. And what happens is, as the show progressively gets worse and worse, it becomes famous for how bad the play is and how bad everything goes, that when it gets put on Broadway, people are waiting for, people to fall downstairs, the set to break, people to stumble their lines or just fall asleep on stage. So it becomes famous for how much goes wrong in this play. But being someone who went to school for acting and acted in a bunch of plays and films and stuff like that, like, I love kind of, it's really exaggerated, but some of that stuff does happen, and especially in rehearsal, all the stuff that goes wrong on a set and a stage. I really, really like it. It's really funny. And for someone who grew up just watching Christopher Reeve, as Superman, it's really fun to watch him play this kind of, he's this leading man, but he's also a bumbling moron, which is really fun to watch. So he's kind of like peak Clark Kent almost, and only peak Clark Kent.
Right.
And Michael Caine's always funny, just watching him get super frustrated as a stodgy British guy, as things get worse and worse and worse. So it's definitely a really fun watch.
Nice. What was it called again?
That's Noises Off.
Noises Off. Yeah, can't say I ever Heard of that one there.
Yeah, I've never heard of that movie.
Mike, bringing the definitely
the heat.
forgotten ones.
You guys will know my next probably 2 movies.
Fair enough. Someone did mention in the chat as a forgotten movie was Idle Hands. David Apuzza said 90s
Idle Hands is
forgotten
awesome.
for sure. And I said that The Offspring was in that movie because I remember the singer was getting his brain pulled
Dexter.
back. Yeah.
And also Tom DeLonge was in it.
Tom DeLonge was in it.
He was serving hamburgers.
Pretty good. Okay. I forgot who goes now. You go. Yeah. Jay's next.
Okay. So I remembered this once I saw the name, but I didn't remember it until I saw it. You guys might remember it. It was Species, 1995.
Nice. Yes.
Once again, I'll read the tiny little synopsis. It says a group of scientists try to track down and trap a killer alien seductress before she successfully mates with a human. There you go.
That's all you need to know.
That's all you need to know.
I definitely remember this movie.
Sexual content. You remember it?
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty sure my dad rented it, one of the weekends where I'd go to my dad's, he'd get horror movies and I get NES games. I want to say, didn't they make like 3, 4 of these?
There's like 3 or 4 species. And I was going to add, it's an awkward watch with your parents back in the 90s.
Right.
The same thing. Oh, it's an alien action thriller movie. And so we all rented it. And I couldn't have felt more awkward watching that with my parents.
Isn't she like naked on the front cover though, at least?
She is just so thirsty the entire movie. It's ridiculous.
Oh man, she's dying to get that human seed, I guess.
There was a hot tub seed in there.
It's true.
Yeah.
I don't remember that.
Hot tub time machine. Scarred for life. Rex the Great.
Yeah, I'd say that it was interesting. And yeah, maybe we were first time exposed to some weird sexuality stuff in there. Species.
Yep.
But apparently it had to make some money for them to make subsequent sequels, right? At least maybe
so.
Unless they went straight to VHS, right?
It was like Natasha Hendridge, right?
Oh,
So,
who played?
Who played the alien lady? So yeah, every guy in the 90s wanted that. Just the poster
If
alone.
it was Alicia Silverstone, I would have probably went and saw it.
Right.
Thirsty Alicia Silverstone.
Fair enough. All right, I'll move on to my next one here. It's enough species talk. Get too heated in here. This one I know Mike talked about on his podcast before, and I feel like no one really knows it or talks about it, and that is 1991, starring Bruce Willis, Hudson Hawk.
Hudson Hawk,
which is also a video game.
That's true.
There was a Game Boy game and an NES game.
Wow.
Hudson Hawk. And what was pretty neat is they mention Nintendo in the movie.
Weird.
Yeah, like
Cool.
Bruce Willis is like talking about something, and it's a very weird character to see Bruce Willis in. I will say, I'm trying to think the plot. Like he's a burglar, right? And he gets broken out of prison, I believe, to help. Is he in prison or no? I'm confusing the plot of it because I've only watched it once.
I don't remember if he gets broken out of prison.
I know they get him to steal. This group is trying to get pieces to a machine that turns something into gold, like
something
metal into gold or whatever.
Made.
Right, that Da Vinci had made. And it's very quirky. And I think Mike had summed it up where they're not sure like if they should go full like goofy in the movie, like with the comedy and this and that. Right. And they're like, I don't know, like what is this movie trying to be? Is it trying to be that silly, goofy movie or what?
Yeah, that's a movie that Field and I hotly disagree on. I don't think it's as bad as a lot of people say, but Field loves that movie, and I was not feeling it.
Yeah, and we ended up doing a crossover episode because we talked about the video game itself.
Right, yeah.
Because I'm like,
didn't they cancel like there was an SNES version or a different version, and they only released one version because the movie did so poorly?
Right. It's like, how do you even get that as like kids are going to want to play this NES game? Darkman, okay, like he's superhero-ish, but like Hudson Hawk?
he's
Maybe
hot coming
just-
off of Die Hard, so they were probably like, "Oh yeah, let's get this."
And they made
I
a Die Hard
guess.
video game too.
Right. So maybe that was in the contract.
Bruce Willis just busting out NES games.
I guess so. Before we get into the next ones, I wanted to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Bull Airs. I'm rocking the Bull Airs Doom jacket right here. You guys can see the logo there, and it's got sweet patches down the back. But they are doing a exclusive release which goes live tomorrow, and they're doing custom Clerks 2 shoes here. The Bull Airs Moobies, which looks freaking sweet, and he also is getting a jersey made
Oh, that jersey's sick.
and like a stress ball. That, you know, those like balls you can
It's a
kind
stress
of
ball.
foam.
Cool.
Yeah, that you can squeeze and stuff. Man, Tom's getting like so many license deals. It's like ridiculous over on the site.
I got to ask you a question, Russ.
Yeah.
How does this sponsorship work? Well, like, usually when you get sponsored, they throw you some free swag. So, what am I getting here from Bull Airs?
What is well, maybe we'll get you some shoes. We'll see.
How about that jersey? That'd be sick.
That's a pretty sick jersey right there.
I'd wear that.
Jay is into some hockey stuff, so that's certainly
true.
would fit you there. Yeah, he's got these set up, and I'm trying to think of what other ones he was announcing. But essentially, yeah, I mean, you can head over to his website, bullairs.com, and it kind of shows the upcoming releases, or you can follow them on Instagram as well. And usually he'll be doing that. And I do my best to post online about all the upcoming shoes and cool gear. But yeah, when I got this, everyone always compliments on it. It's a nice like windbreaker-ish.
Yeah, that
type
jacket's
jacket.
really sweet. I love the color.
Yeah, and even like
That
the
yellow zipper is that's popping.
Yeah, so I dig it. So we appreciate the sponsorship. Check them out if you want to. All right. What else we got? What else we got here? Should we do some comments from the people where we reached out on social media? I guess we could do. Oh, and we do have a voicemail as well.
Oh, voicemail. Love
if
those.
you guys want to call in, you can't call in live, but you can leave a voicemail. And
That'd be
it's
sick if you did though.
I know. I haven't figured that out yet. 949-682-9277 is our phone number. It's listed in all of our descriptions of the video on the website and everything. So you can check that out there. Yeah, let's see. What do we do? I guess we'll go to some social media comments here and we'll check those out.
What did you say? What did you say?
Springfield, let's hear from you.
Let's hear from you. So we reached out to you guys over on Instagram about 90s movies that maybe were forgotten. What do we got here? Tissini says Rapid Fire, the greatest action movie most people have never seen.
Never heard of it.
What about you, Mike? Rapid Fire?
The name sounds familiar, but no, I don't think I know of it.
There we go. Forgotten. Fits the criteria.
Absolutely.
Eric Plunk says Suburban Commando, starring Hulk Hogan, Doc
wow,
Brown,
yeah, I forgot about that.
Shelley Duvall, and a cameo by The Undertaker. I definitely rented this one multiple times. Excellent.
Great call.
I do remember that one.
I just remember watching, I don't know if it was 90s, but I watched Christmas with Muscles, and that's starring Hulk Hogan. It's a Christmas movie. Just as good, maybe. We got Scuffy GIF. Space Invaders and Heavyweights are two very funny movies. I heard of
Loved
Heavyweights.
Heavyweights.
Space Invaders? Like it's about the video game or what?
Didn't Heavyweights have Ben Stiller in it?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ben Stiller?
I don't
Dude,
think
he was so funny in that movie.
I don't know if Heavyweights is forgotten. I think a lot of people still talk about Heavyweights.
So maybe not.
It's got a lot of good stuff in there.
And we got AZ Dad, 1988, says Surf Ninjas.
Absolutely, Surf Ninjas.
Didn't
Absolutely.
that have an SNES game?
Yes.
Yeah,
Well,
Surf
see,
Ninjas had
we
it.
had two NES games on my list, and this is a SNES game, but still forgot. I feel like the Three Ninjas, right?
Three Ninjas is better remembered than Surf Ninjas.
Right. That's kind of like the straight to VHS movie, right? That a lot of kids were like, I'm not really sure about that. Let's see. And then what else we got? We got Facebook. We had a few comments from there. Brian says the only one I can think of off the top of my head is Man in the Iron Mask. I remember really liking that movie, but I don't think anyone really talks about it. And also the two Disney movies most people don't talk about, but are great, are Hercules and Hunchback of Notre Dame. We have also been watching Hercules, the animated series recently, and it's good.
Hercules, the Disney movie, is one of my favorite Disney movies. I love that movie. I don't think it gets enough positive praise. I think it's awesome.
What year did that come out? Because I think I was above watching Disney movies by the time that one rolled around.
Probably 96,
97.
The last Disney movie I remember seeing was Pocahontas, and I remember not wanting to see it.
You're like, I'm done. I'm done.
Somebody,
kids? Like, aren't
I
they
was
watching?
I was with some smaller kids that we were babysitting.
Okay.
And they wanted to see it, so I was like, all right, whatever. See it.
You're like, we'll put it on. Fine.
I had to go to the theater to see it.
Oh, okay. Driving out. Matthew Durkin. All right. I think he's in the chat watching as well. There are a bunch of movies I think could have made the list, but a few that I rarely see mentioned are Small Soldiers, Hackers, Point of No Return, and Demolition Man. They may not win a ton of awards, but they're always fun to watch.
I mean, those movies are all great. Well, I mean, Hackers is 90s cheese. But Small Soldiers and Demolition Man's, I don't know, that's forgotten.
Yeah, I don't think Demolition Man is.
Right. I think still people talk about that. I did see someone mention somewhere I think there was another similar movie, not Small Soldiers, but I think just called Toy Soldiers, if I remember correctly. Let me see if I can look it up on IMDb. Small Soldiers, which I think had the same concept.
I was always surprised that we never got a Small Soldiers 2.
Let's see. Maybe not.
Small Soldiers is another one with a video game tie-in, but I think that was on the original PlayStation. I remember I had a demo disc back when those were a thing with that game on there.
See, kids, we used to get CDs that were...
You used to have it in your magazine, and they might have been scratched up beyond all recognition, but you could put it in your PlayStation.
Let's see. Let me reach out to... We got... Where else we did? We did Facebook. We did Instagram. Oh, and our YouTube page. If you head over to YouTube and we have a community tab, we post in there as well. We got a few people on here. We got Eli says Airborne, a movie about rollerblading with a young.
I was going to bring that up. I love it. I just bought it on DVD like a month ago.
Saying he likes to play Nintendo for a school report, and Hard Target, starring Jean-Claude Van Damme, was an underrated action flick that spin kicked its way into my heart. I don't think I've seen either of those. And
Hard Target's good.
Yeah?
I just thought of another one.
As a 90s action movie, yeah.
Okay. We got Steve versus Man Cave Arcade. I'm not sure if it's been forgotten, but The Mask with Jim Carrey was always one of my favorite 90s movies as a kid. They ended up making a Mask cartoon, which I feel people forgot. Also, I was a fan of the 90s Godzilla movie where he was in New York. That movie seems to get a bad rap, but I loved it back in the day. That also got a cartoon. That's right, it did, yeah. And a video game. Some other forgotten favorites of mine were The Indian in the Cupboard, the live-action Flintstones, Angels in the Outfield, The Page Master, Flubber, and Dustin Checks
We did The Page Master on Forgotten Cinema.
Oh, you did do The Page Master.
Yeah, it was not as good as I had remembered. But the live-action Flintstones is on our list to do for the revival of Forgotten Cinema.
Gotcha.
Because I just read an article about it's not as bad as you remember. And I was like,
I remember seeing it in the theater and not thinking it was that great.
Indian in the Cupboard, though, is awesome.
That was awesome.
We got Purge and Splurge Thrifting. Always loved the Mighty Ducks. Angus. Never heard of that one.
Angus was great. It was about the fat kid that took the girl to prom.
Okay. American Pie.
I think there might have been a Weezer song in it too, possibly.
And Three Ninjas. Funny story about Three Ninjas. I rented the VHS so many times it got lost in my room. It ended up being wedged between my bed's headboard and the wall. And my dad had to pay our local video rental store $30 to replace it.
Jeez.
I say the money was worth it. That movie was awesome. Yeah, much better than Surf Ninjas, right?
I can remember their names: Rocky, Colt, and Tom Tom.
There we go. Manuel says, not sure if it's 90s or maybe 89, but Little Monsters with Fred Savage and Howie Mandel was awesome. It scared me, but I still enjoyed it. Don't hear much about it anymore.
I remember the movie cover because some dude had like a blue face with horns.
Yes. Yeah, definitely a classic for sure. Dave would know. He's definitely all about that. I'm sure he has that one on VHS, but that was a classic. Remember, what is this? Remember when VHS tapes would get eaten up by the VCR? Good times. Jeez. All right, what else we got? We got Retroholic 16. What up, fellas? Some of my favorites that I think are great to still watch today that people forget compared to popular movies are Heavyweights, Man of the House, Blank Check, and Brink. Funny story about Brink is it is actually a $100 VHS, and most people don't remember the guy who played the original Black Power Ranger is in it. I went to a con in Denver, and everyone was in line for him with Power Ranger stuff, and I had him sign Brink. He died laughing and said it was his first time signing it. That's pretty cool. This way you stand out like as a core memory of the convention for him. You're like, oh, I'm just signing Power Ranger stuff over and over. Like, oh, I remember doing this movie. And then we have Mike. Freaked. Such an over-the-top film with Alex Winter from the Bill and Ted movies. There's also a cameo from Keanu Reeves as the dog boy.
The dog boy.
I never heard of this movie. Freaked? I got to see what the cover looks like. 1993.
It'll probably spark some memories when you see it.
I don't think it does.
Oh, I remember watching this movie when I was really little. This movie scared the crap out of me.
Oh, wow. Look at that.
Oh, that looks weird. I don't know if I remember that actually, but it looks like a fever dream.
But ugly, but funny.
It looked like the Garbage Pail Kids. Remember that was a movie?
Yeah, it was.
That thing right there. That thing right there haunts my memories.
I don't think I ever seen this movie. I mean, props to the special effects team. That's a lot of.
Look at that nose person. That's disgusting.
Wow. Okay. All right. So we'll have to check it. Oh, look, it's on Blu-ray. Free. There you go.
Wow.
Pick it up. Give it a watch.
Or don't.
Sweet. All right. Who's next? Who do we got? We're back to you, Mike, I think.
Okay. I've got Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion.
I want to say I remember this one.
Really? I figured this one would be like one of the two that you guys would know.
Let me see. Maybe. I don't know.
Lisa Kudrow and Mira Sorvino are like two kind of dim-witted.
Oh, I remember that.
Going to their high school reunion after 10 years. It's got Alan Cumming in it.
Hey, we got a super chat from Retro Rick.
Oh, Retro Rick. What's up?
He says, check out The Pest, one of my favorite forgotten 90s movies.
How about that? All right. The Pest. I never heard of that one either. Rick is all about 90s stuff for sure.
It's about Rick himself.
Is it?
He is the pest.
Let's pull it up. Let's see what the IMDb
It sounds like it's about. It sounds like a movie that the guy from Saturday Night Live and Home Alone 2 would be in. What's his name?
And it's got Luigi in it here.
Oh, it's John Leguizamo. Oh my God, this looks great.
Oh, it's too loud.
Me love you long time. Me so horny from you.
They call him the pest.
Stop repeating what I say. Mean it.
He's got Mr. Rooney.
Fast cash.
Where's my money?
I'll have the money for you. What's the day after today? Tomorrow? Tomorrow.
And the only way he's going to get it.
Join me for a little gentlemanly hunt.
Wow.
What are we gonna hunt?
Oh, this is
let
great.
them hunt him.
I mean, it's definitely 90s.
That looks so funny. Good call. Good call, Rick.
Nice. We'll have to add that one onto there. What's up, Alex? Alex is in the house. Aldo's here. What's up? Welcome. Thanks for joining. We're talking about 90s forgotten movies. Retro Rick suggested The Pest. And Mike was talking about, we got Romeo and Michelle's high school reunion?
Romy and Michelle's high school.
Romy, not Romeo. I had pulled
Was
up
that
the
before
IMDb.
or after American Pie?
Let's see, this is 97.
Probably like right before American Pie, like a couple years before, maybe.
Oh, you
Maybe
said
a year
Mira
before.
Savino. I was thinking of Mina Savari.
Oh,
I
yeah.
still remember this though, because that cover was hard to forget because it looked so similar.
I know, that was like twins.
I just think it's a really funny like movie altogether. Like it's just the comedy's there. It's goofy, but it's not too like they're not very smart, but it's not super dumb. Like it's not Dumb and Dumber dumb, but it's
Right.
on the cusp. And I think it's great because they carry the movie. It's got some great sequences. It's quick. It's got some really great lines. Like it's definitely worth a watch. I think it's pretty much available anywhere still.
Nice.
Yeah, it looks like, it shows on Prime Video
That
right
hair.
there.
Wow.
Definitely 90s for sure. I probably said, like I said, I think I've seen it once.
It looks like the same street from Dumb and Dumber where they're out in the middle of nowhere.
Could be. Do one of those location shots. Sweet.
Funny.
All right, what do we got? You're up, Jay.
All right, I got a good one for you. Somebody mentioned this was not on my list, but I've thought of it since. Somebody mentioned Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
Do you remember Sudden Death? It was about Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yeah.
He is a retired police officer who now works as a security guard at the Civic Arena, which is the home of the Pittsburgh Penguins. I would know that, right?
Gotta have the hockey tie-in.
And so basically, some guys bringing a bomb during one of the playoff games.
Yes.
And Jean-Claude Van Damme has to undetonate all the bombs. Meanwhile, this remake of the 1992 Stanley Cup's going on where Pittsburgh plays Chicago. And you see a couple different hockey players, like Luc Robitaille's in it, and I don't remember Jay's last name, but his name's Jay something. He does all their commentary. But as a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, it was like the greatest movie ever.
Right,
and,
right.
That arena no longer exists in Pittsburgh, so it's kind of neat that it's documented on this movie. But it's actually a really good movie, even minus the hockey tie-in.
Yeah, I definitely remember seeing that, and it's peak Jean-Claude Van Damme, just pumping out the action movies. You're like, all right, it's Jean-Claude Van Damme. I'll see it. I'll check it out.
One of the craziest parts of the movie is he's wearing their mascot outfit and fighting people in a giant penguin outfit. So awesome.
Going undercover. I dig it. All right, what else do I got here? This one is not a video game. I went with 1995 starring Sandra Bullock, The Net.
Oh, yeah.
You ever see this, Jay?
I have never seen it, but it sounds vaguely familiar.
It's about this little thing we like to call the internet. It's definitely way ahead of its time of what the movie is all about, because it's talking about stuff like we have now. It's basically she's an analysis computer person, and she clicks on a file. She gets a floppy disk, right? Just like in Hackers, everything was floppy disk then. And she clicked on some file, and then she can see all government stuff. And then there's these people coming after her, and it shows they can erase her identity through computers. We could change your photo on the DMV site, and we can delete this stuff on because everything's digital. You leave your digital imprint on the world, and you're like, what is this? This is back in 1990.
I'm starting to remember this now.
Let's see.
You said Sandra Bullock?
Yeah, Sandra Bullock. 1995.
Yeah, I feel like I've watched this in the last 2-3 years for some reason.
The Net. Suspense.
Oh yeah, I did see this recently.
That floppy disk probably has 2 whole.
Because I remember her being on that beach.
I love all the 90s technology.
Yeah. Still so outdated.
Computers your life.
Yeah. Perfect hiding place.
Dual monitor set up.
When she stumbled on something. What is this? She never should see. I plugged it in and I'm staring.
Was that Doom in the background?
Maybe.
Imagine.
How long would it take to track? Depends on how long she stays online.
They're just playing a Nintendo game.
They hacked into computers and they caused the chaos. Wall Street.
The market panic has official suspended trading.
Department of Water and Power in Atlanta.
I feel like, with this, how everything's like, probably went over a lot of people's heads of like, this stuff could actually happen, essentially.
They're probably like,
Right.
sealing my identity? Impossible.
Yeah.
I'm me.
Also, shout out to the movie trailer guy with his deep voice and doing all the trailers in a world unknown to internet technology.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's got a 6 out of 10 on IMDb here. Sandra Bullock. I don't know if this was. I think this is after Speed. When did Speed come out?
I don't know. I don't know where or
This
why
is
I
probably
watched
the
this.
same year,
94.
after.
So
This
But
is
it
what
was
you
good.
grew up then.
So I'm sure it got some people to the movies because of her hype off of Speed to check it out. But I feel like no one ever mentions it again. It's just one of those movies about the internet before the internet.
Yeah, that was a good movie. I liked it.
Sweet.
2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up from Jay.
This movie is good.
This movie's good. I got 2 more on my list. You got 2 more, Mike?
I got 2 more as well.
Sweet. What do you got? We're rolling back around.
Oh, is it
to
my
you.
turn? All right.
It's back to you.
Well, first of all, Retro Apocalypse says, check out The Chase with Charlie Sheen. I really like that movie. I just did it guest starring on the Pint podcast, another podcast that I'm buddies with. And they both hated that movie, and I was there defending it by myself, but I'm glad someone else likes The Chase.
Nice.
My next movie, I hope you guys know this. This is the second of my 2 movies I thought you guys might know.
Okay.
Is New Jack City.
Yes,
Yes.
I remember that.
I say, all right, I got one. I love New Jack City. I think it's such a good version. Like it's about the crack epidemic in New York in the 90s. But it's like such like a weird fairy tale version of New York. And so like the Cash Money Brothers become so powerful. It's ridiculous. I just love everything about the movie, the style, the dialogue, the look of the film.
Yeah.
Cookie Bear with Chris Rock. It was like his first role. He's such a good little crackhead. Like I love it.
Good little crackhead.
Wesley Snipes is like peak Wesley Snipes. Like I just think this movie is really, really fantastic.
Yeah, I can't say I hear people talk about it that much, and with a cast like that too. You're like, all right, come on.
But I think this is like early in almost everybody's career. So I think it's like Ice-T was obviously a rapper first, but like this is like his first big role.
This was like his break.
Yeah, Judd
Right.
Nelson's in it. Like Judd Nelson was probably a name, and I think Wesley Snipes was getting there.
Okay.
But yeah, the whole movie is just really, really good and so ridiculous, but in the right way.
In the right way.
What
dig
year
it.
did this come out?
1991, I believe.
Oh, wow. That's pretty early. Yeah, I probably never seen it because I was too young at that point and then just never watched it as I got older.
It's definitely something like if you like 90s, like go back to that.
Yeah.
It's
I
definitely
wonder, do you know if it's streaming anywhere currently?
I can't remember because I covered it on the show a while ago. I can't remember if I streamed it or rented it. It's definitely worth like $2.
It says you can
Google it.
rent it
Worth HD.
on Prime Video.
Okay, cool.
Aldo says certified hood classic.
That's it.
I want to see. I would look up. Let's see if it's this in the same. This was 91. Okay, so I remember the one after was. Have you guys seen Juice?
We did Juice on the podcast.
I remember Juice.
Too.
In 92.
You got to get the juice, Russ.
The juice is loose.
I remember funny story with this. There was a guy who lived across the street from me, and he had a bunch of movies. This sounds so weird. So he would let like the neighborhood kids come get a movie like a rental store or whatever, rent the movie. And I remember him giving me juice to check out.
Was
And
he
I was
like that guy on Family Guy that's like, "Come here, Chris.
come here. Don't you
Come
want to rent
watch
a
my
movie?
movies. You can sleep on my couch while you watch my movies."
Not as creepy, so that's good.
Good.
All right, what do you got, Jay? What do you got?
Okay, this movie I completely forgot existed. It's called Kids.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
A day in the life of a group of teens as they travel around New York City, skating, drinking, smoking, and deflowering virgins.
Yeah, I don't know if I could bring up any footage of the trailer on this one, but I definitely remember seeing this one for sure.
I don't know if I ever saw it, but I just remember I remember the commercial and being like, "Wow, that's pretty risque."
Yeah, like I know my friend got a VHS tape of it, but I don't know like how, if he had to order it or something, and he was like, "Oh, we got to see this movie. It's like wild." And I remember watching it, and I was just like, because we'd never done any of that stuff, and
It's
it's
just like
like
a bunch of
showing
debauchery. Yeah.
right. And I don't know if it was
Actually, I think I did see it now that I'm thinking about it.
might have seen it once. It's probably a one and done. You see it, and
Yeah,
you're like,
yeah,
all right.
yeah. I felt a little dirty after watching it because I was still pretty young, I think, when I saw it. I was like, this isn't the way I live my life, but okay. Cool.
Oh, Aldo says, I remember seeing Kids on HBO all the time back then. Well, I figured I could see HBO because they wouldn't cut, because you can't show that on, it'd be a 30-minute movie.
I had a buddy of mine who was like in school for filmmaking, and he would be like, my greatest inspiration is Kids. And everyone who was like in like the filmmaking class with him and stuff just looked at him and just stared, including like the professor was just like, "What? No, get out of my class!" Like, I don't want to watch your short films when we get to the filmmaking part of this.
Right,
I don't know who you're gonna get to do your films with you.
Jeez,
that's funny.
Have you guys ever watched Surviving the Game with Ice-T?
A long time ago.
Yeah,
like I remember watching it, but I don't remember a lot of it.
Okay. Yeah, that one I don't remember. I remember Juice, and I said the New Jack City there. But yeah, don't remember that one. So that could be another forgotten one as well. What is Dave talking about? Lots of folk implosion songs on that soundtrack. On the Kid soundtrack, a classic 90s modern rock band. Maybe. All right, going on to my next one. It is an NES game to continue it up. I would say it's somewhat forgotten, but I know a lot of people talked about it. I can't remember if you guys did it or not on the podcast, but I put Dick Tracy.
We did do that on the podcast. Yep.
1990s.
Dick Tracy's phenomenal.
Dick Tracy. Love the style of it they had on there. It was like straight, comic book movies weren't huge then. Batman had just come out, right? 89.
Yep.
So
that movie had a lot of marketing behind it, I remember.
Dick Tracy.
Oh,
Too
yeah.
much marketing. That probably blew half of its budget. That's probably why there wasn't a Dick Tracy 2.
It could be, yeah.
It was almost like Sin City before, obviously like 10 years or so before Sin City came out, but like where it's so comic accurate to like the point of just super stylized.
Right. Like a lot of these I seen like behind the scenes, it's almost paintings that they use to light the backgrounds and stuff like that to get that, how they're using color throughout this movie where you get that splash of red or green.
Mm-hmm.
It's like color everywhere. And I think it just depicts the comic book very well. It's a pretty fun story. Madonna was in it.
I love all the goofy villains like Littleface and
yes,
the Blank. Awesome. And those guys are all so weird. It was great.
Because I never read the comic growing up, so I was just seeing it as like, oh, here's a superhero movie or whatever, what have you, and it looks neat. But they definitely a good one. They made an NES game, which is pretty hard. I've never beaten that one. So maybe I could dive back into that and see if I could.
Yeah, it's got the kid from What About Bob? David's right. Yeah.
Oh, that's who's in it.
Yeah, I keep looking at it and I'm like, where do I know that kid from? And that's exactly what he's from. What about Bob? He's trying to dive and Bob teaches him how to dive.
We got Al Pacino, right?
Yep, he's one of the
Yeah.
mob bosses. 3-hour cut. That kid's
Aldous says-
also in Hook. That's Peter
Yeah,
Pan's
he's the.
son.
Oh, yes.
That's right. He isn't Hook.
Warren Betty claims there's a 3-hour cut of Dick Tracy floating around somewhere.
Wow.
I wonder
I'd
what
watch
else would
I'd
be.
watch
I mean, I'd definitely be interested in seeing it.
Give him the cement shoes.
I know he won't give anybody the rights to the movie. He owns the rights for himself, and he has
Okay.
to do something Dick Tracy related, like every 7 years or something. And he comes out and does this stupid little movie thing, 10-minute bit where he's dressed as Dick Tracy because they
Weird.
won't let him be Dick Tracy anymore because they say he's too old. So studios don't want to fund his film, but he won't give anybody the rights to Dick Tracy. So until
man.
he
So he's
passes away, basically,
So
he's
he has to do it every 7 years to keep it alive or something.
7 years or 10 years, and he comes I remember when we covered it on Forgotten Sin, we watched one of them, and it's just him basically coming out onto his front lawn and being like, "Hey, it's Dick Tracy. I'm gonna solve some crimes. I'm gonna do," and it's so embarrassing to watch. It's just kind of you gotta let it go, guy. You had it.
It's
You're an
over.
incredibly famous actor. You're one of the most famous actors of all. Let it go. Let it go.
David says he should do it every leap day.
I love how Adam Gabbard said, "I won the Dick Tracy NES. I won the game Dick Tracy NES because when I was a kid, that's how I always said I won. I won over this game. I won it.
Oh, instead of saying I beat the
instead
game.
of saying I beat it or I finished it, I won. I love that.
Nice. All right, let's see. That was mine. Okay, so we're back to Mike now with the
All right.
next
My
thing.
last one, I don't know if you guys have probably never seen it. I never saw it until we did it on Forgotten Cinema.
Okay.
But Living in Oblivion, it's from 1995. It's written and directed by Tom DeCillo. Stars Steve Buscemi, Catherine Keener, Dermot Mulroney. Peter Dinklage is in it. I think it's his first role. And Kevin Corrigan. And basically, Steve Buscemi's this indie filmmaker, and he's making this movie, and it's everybody. He has a nightmare about directing the feature. Like in that trailer, the black and white scene is the third dream. He has his first nightmare, then his actress has a second nightmare, and they kind of build on each other's nightmares about experiences filming this movie until you get to the last quote unquote dream sequence, which is actually probably real. And it's everything that can go wrong in a small film set. Like when you and I, Russ, were doing Bad Blood, sound cuts out, or some garbage truck just won't leave, or you can't get the lighting right, or some actor comes in and wants to buy James LaGrosse is this semi-popular actor.
Yeah.
And he goes in and he wants to try something new. He's like, I want to wear an eye patch. And he puts on this eye patch and won't touch his cues. And the microphone guy is trying to move with him and getting the boom mic in every shot. If you like indie filmmaking, if you ever were interested in it or are part or involved in it, or if you just love film, that's a look behind the process of what it's like on an indie film trying to make your features with a group of people. It's awesome. And it's really funny in an almost too awkward way, but not so awkward you can't watch it kind of way.
Okay. Yeah, to see him in a different role like that, I was like, okay. That's what I was gonna say. Rack said, what about The Room? I was gonna say kind of gives me almost the vibes on that. If you heard have you seen The Room, Mike?
Well, the original The Room, or the movie called The Room, based on the shooting.
the original.
I've seen the original The Room. The Room is just bad.
Right.
Whatever movie they're making isn't necessarily bad.
Okay.
You never really get they screw up everything they're in, so you really don't even know what their movie is as they're doing it.
Gotcha. Yeah, I could say I never seen that one before, so certainly forgotten. What do you got, Jay?
All right, this might be a movie you guys remember. I don't know. I feel like it's kind of forgotten. Dangerous Minds with Michelle Pfeiffer.
Well, I remember the soundtrack.
I think she. Oh yeah, I guess that the song is pretty popular, thanks to whatever his name was. But what is it she's in an inner city and she's trying to get these kids to engage in learning, and they're all just cutting up and whatnot, kind of like the kids from the kids movie.
Right. She's
so she finally breaks through and kind of gets them to put some importance on education. Is that kind of
The gist of it.
That's
The gist of it.
Yeah, what do we got here? Louisiana, a retired U.S. Marine, becomes a teacher in California high school, but her mostly Latino and Black students from a
That's racist.
impoverished and racially segregated loyalty do not easily embrace her.
But then she finally wins them over, and then everybody sings, "We've been living most of our lives, living in the gangster's paradise." And they all do like a big dance to it. I don't know.
Pretty much. I've seen this back in the
I
day
made that
for
up.
sure. But most people know it because of the soundtrack with the Gangster Paradise in it. Yes.
What was like a Coolio? Golly, I
Yes.
can't believe I forgot his name.
Coolio.
Anyway, Dangerous Minds. That's my last one.
I guess there was similar plot here that David Apuzzo was saying was higher learning. I'd say I heard of
Sounds
that one. It's familiar to
Similar
you.
name.
I know of Higher Learning, but I don't think I've seen Higher Learning.
Although Aldo came in with the retort and says, Rax, that one's called High School High, a classic.
Here we go.
Fair
I was
enough.
also wrong about calling the movie based on The Room because it was called The Disaster Artist, which Rax
Yes.
also corrected me on.
Yes. Which was good too. But I was curious of how many people came out to see that movie not seeing The Room to get the comedy of what it was making fun of, so to say, right?
I've never heard of this movie you guys are talking about, so I'm so lost.
It's
Well, you never heard of The Room or the movie based on The Room?
Either.
Either. Wow. Consider yourself lucky. The Room is terrible.
So this is see, this wouldn't fall into our thing because it came out in 2003.
That looks like the dude from Game Chasers. What's his name? Starts with an M. What is it? The brother.
Yes, I can't remember.
Billy
his
J.
name. I'm gonna say it's
Why
not.
do I want to call him Mort? That's not it.
That's what I was gonna say, but I'm just thinking of Mort.
Melvor.
Melvor.
He looks like Melvor from the Game Chasers.
But essentially, this is he's trying to make a film. He wants to like become a like a movie producer or whatever, and he meets some other local guy, and he's like, they keep getting rejected by everyone, so he's like, let's make our own movie, and he's like, I'll fund it, and it's just like terribly bad. It's hard to describe. It became this weird cult classic thing. I mean, it's 30 seconds, but I guess we could just watch the little preview thing here.
I don't love it.
Wait, what?
These are for you. The best movie of the year.
I don't love him anymore.
Johnny's my best friend. This will be our secret.
Experience this quirky new black comedy.
You have my money, right? I treat you like a princess, and you stab me in the back.
It's a riot.
You are tearing me apart, Lisa!
A film with the passion of Tennessee Williams. The Room. Directed by Tommy Wiseau. Rated R. Experience this quirky new black comedy. Coming soon near you.
I guess that kind of sums it up. I don't. The movie comes with an underwear advertisement. Oh,
That's
hey, Mark.
amazing.
There's so many quotable lines. So, like, if you didn't watch that movie and then you went to see The Disaster Artist, which is a retelling of, I guess, how that movie was made, but I don't know. It was wild. It was wild to check it out.
I mean, it's still a wild,
yes,
crazy
James
story about how it
Franco.
was made.
Agreed, and we still don't know how old
Tommy Wiseau is.
Tommy
or where
is,
he comes from.
Where he comes
or where
from.
he gets all his money.
And he had like when they were filming, digital was like coming out, so they went to go like rent camera equipment to make this film, and then he was just like, I'll just buy the camera equipment. And they're like, do you want the digital or the film? And he's like, I'll just take both. And they're like, what? Why? So, yeah, Aldo sums it up there. You can't explain The Room. You just have to experience it yourself. Disaster Artist is the account of the making of the film by the co-lead of The Room, Greg Sestero.
I feel like you could watch The Disaster Artist and at least get like watch it and have like at least more of a background on The Room. So when you watch The Room,
right,
maybe it's just not quite as cringe because it's so cringy. Like watching it and it's just like I was shown it knowing nothing about the room because it was just kind of blowing up.
Mhm.
And I was sat down and for like an hour and 30 minutes had to watch this thing. And I was just like, I don't get it. Why do you love this?
Who knows? That I don't. Now I forgot where we left off. Who went last?
I think I'm done.
You were done, so then I'm up.
Yeah.
All right. I put 1997. I don't know if anyone remembered this, but I have a fun story about it. Let's see. Oh, no, it's not. I'm just looking it up on IMDb here. Jodie Foster was in this, and Matthew McConaughey. That is Contact.
I
Oh,
almost brought
Contact,
this movie up.
phenomenal.
I feel like not a lot of people talk about this one. I've seen it when I was in high school, and my astronomy teacher put it on for us. And I was like, okay. And I was just watching, funny enough, prior to this, we were watching a short YouTube video that explained movies that got science pretty much right. And this was on the list itself there. But essentially, they get a message from space that was it Jodie Foster's character decrypts. It's like numbers and this and that or whatever, and it ends up being blueprints and plans to build a device to then go see the aliens. So they build
Probably
this
the Halo.
device, right? To make the Halo, and then it shows the her dropping. Like they got all the people viewing it, and you see the thing go through, and it cuts to her perspective, and you get to see the whole thing go down. But then when they go back to, don't spoil it now. That's like, don't spoil it. Yeah, I don't know how many people have seen the movie or not. Maybe I shouldn't spoil it.
Event Horizon is also
legs
awesome, Rex.
bend at the end had me sent.
What do you
I don't know
say?
what that means. He said the way the kid's legs bend at the end had me sent. I don't remember that part.
In Contact? I don't know if it's that. Yeah.
I might be talking about The Arrival or Event Horizon.
Because we got some people coming up on here. Yeah. Back then, it was everywhere back then. But I feel like no one really, when you're talking about sci-fi movies, maybe people don't bring up the sci-fi there.
I think
I just remember all the satellites
nowadays.
Oh, all the yeah, you need all the satellites facing to the stars if you want to contact aliens. Did you guys talk about Event Horizon?
We did. We covered Event Horizon. It was one of our last movies we did in this season. Event Horizon is great, but yeah, it was plagued by issues. It's amazing how good it is based on like what happened behind the scenes and how screwed over it got screwed by the studios. Because they put all their, I think it was Paramount, I can't remember what studio, took all the money basically for this film and put it into Titanic. They were just like, we're going all in on Titanic, cut its budget while it was being made. It's directed by Paul S. Anderson whichever Paul Anderson did the Resident Evil ones, not the good Paul Anderson. And it's amazing that it's better. It's not trash like the Resident Evil movies are. It's a really interesting movie. It's a really good horror space movie. So if you haven't checked that out, it's probably the thing that it's most inspired the Dead Space games, would be my guess.
So
right, that's what Rex was below. Yeah.
Is it like the ship is an alien itself?
No, the ship kind of goes through this portal and ends up almost like Doom going into a portal through hell, but then coming back like 10 years later without the crew, but supposedly unchanged. So a new crew goes to investigate and find out that there might still be stuff on board.
Wow, sounds awesome.
Sadly, the director's cut of Event Horizon apparently got burned in a fire.
But there were rumors that they found it in like a mine shaft and it might still exist in some parts.
How would it even get in a mine shaft?
The legend of like the director's cut of Event Horizon is nuts.
Wow, that's wild.
Well, because they had so many other scenes. I guess. Well, it's based on a book, right? And there was. I want to say, was it based?
I don't think so.
Because wasn't there like
Contact is based on a book? Contact is based on a book by Carl Sagan.
What am I thinking of? There was some like weird
Deep Impact. I don't know.
Deep Impact. There was some weird sexual scene or something that I think didn't make the movie.
Oh, that they had porn stars and amputees film like this awful blood orgy scene. You only see like little glimpses in the flash to hell. But I guess it was so disturbing that like the studio executives were absolutely not. The test audience got sick watching it, so they had to cut it down.
But they could make out of so much shit.
Fair enough. But if you guys haven't seen Contact, a good sci-fi movie, then
That's
definitely
very
check
good.
that one out. You got one more, Mike? Or was that you said your last one?
That was my top 5. But In the
was our
Mouth
top
of
5.
Madness Retropocalypse, Forgotten Cinema also covered on our Forgotten Horror Season 4.
So there you go. You got a bunch of ones you could check out on over at Mike's podcast there.
Plug.
Let's see what else we got. Oh, I want to do a comment shout outs. If you guys end up leaving a comment, well, you guys are commenting all on the live stream, but if you watch the replay and leave a comment, perhaps you'll get a shout out as well. Where's my little band thingies here?
Comment shout out.
Comment shout out.
What did they say?
Did they say? It was on our last episode talking about maybe they're not so bad with video games. Nexus did chime in and say, I miss Saturday morning cartoons, but I have coffee and the weekly warp pipe.
Oh, we love you.
And you could pick up if you're having coffee and you need something to put your coffee in. We have weekly warp pipe mugs over on our website, and you can grab that over at theweeklywarpipe.com. Mine's over there. I can't get up and get it.
Mine has a light bulb in it.
Why are you storing a light bulb in?
Where else would you put a light bulb, Russ, except in your weekly warp pipe mug? Come on, makes perfect sense.
That's so you could get your ideas.
That's right.
And then I did want to get to a voicemail. We had someone leave us a voicemail. Again, you could call into the show, leave some comments, suggestions. We got 949-682-9277. That's 949-682-WARP. Leave us your voicemail. What do we got?
Hopefully it's Santa.
I keep dreaming about my dream phone. It's for you.
Hey, Russ. It's Jay.
Hey.
But I'm addressing Russ right now. I got to disagree with you on Jaws, and you're probably going to disagree with my disagreeing, but Jaws is not a horror movie. I've only seen the first Jaws, and I don't know. I watched it recently, and I was like, I don't know. I remember it being better, I think, and I just kind of got bored. It's an okay movie, but I'm like, at the time, I understand it's probably
Mike's disgusted.
Good, but just going back and watching it now, I'm like, I don't know. It's a good movie. I don't think it's what a lot of people make it out to be, but
it was made in the 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was made 74.
And then
75?
Jay, I agree with you 100% on Cat's Eye. Stephen King, Cat's Eye. That movie scared me so bad as a kid. My dad would rent a lot of horror movies, which is weird that I love horror movies now because I hated them when I was a kid, and my dad would always have one on TV, and I hated it. And anyways, I remember he
that sounds mean.
It was movie night, and we watched Cat's Eye. I don't know why. I was
Watch
a little
this
kid.
troll.
Anyways, I
sucked
had
the life out of Drew Barrymore.
Such bad nightmares, and my parents were divorced. So I remember I was so scared, I could not sleep. And then my mom called my dad and was just yelling at him over the phone
for making you watch that movie.
I told her, we watched this movie at Dad's house, and I'm scared. And so she yelled at him on the phone, and then she made me talk to him on the phone. And I remember him on the phone going "You got me in trouble," and I'm like, I just watched this movie and I'm scared. Hey, I'm still scared of that movie to this day.
It's terrifying.
That's a scary movie.
That troll is weird. He has this little hat with bells on it, and he climbs up Drew Barrymore's bed and he pinches her nose and he goes, and starts sucking her breath out. It's just I was 6 or 7 when I saw that, and I was like, what the heck? There's trolls on my wall. I still have 3 cats to this day, so I don't have to have a troll suck my breath out when I'm sleeping.
Dave says Jaws is a classic thriller, and we got Retropocalypse Jaws for life, son.
Yeah, at Forgotten Cinema, we're always like, people's opinions on movies are subjective. You know, everybody's opinion counts.
That's right.
But I'm going to go on record as saying, I'll speak for both myself and Mike Field, my co-host of Forgotten Cinema, when I say that might be the first most incorrect take on a film that I have ever heard in my life.
It's certainly it's definitely different pace because again, it was made so long ago. So maybe what we're used to with horror films, thrillers, and stuff now. Going back,
maybe that's not a horror, maybe a thriller. Mike, have you seen Cat's Eye?
I have not seen Cat's Eye, but
oh God, please watch it.
Somebody a few months ago was telling me about how much I had to watch this film, and I think I was just watching the Ted series on Peacock. I think that might be the movie that their cousin plays for Ted and Johnny to scare them, and they don't think it's going to be scary on Halloween in an episode of the show, and they play it, and they're both scared. Scares the crap out of them.
So it's kind of like a 2-part movie. I don't find the first part very scary. But when it goes into the second story, there I'm like, this troll, man. This troll had me wrecked for years.
Jeez.
Rex, thank you.
But yes, yeah.
Retro reminiscence in the house.
Yeah, if you guys want to subscribe to Mike's stuff, it's Forgotten Cinema. They have their podcast on anywhere you can listen to podcasts.
Anywhere on podcasts. It's also on YouTube. Our first batch episodes up until the recent horror season are all just audio, but when we come back May 1st and when we do our recent film reviews and stuff as well, we're going to be all video. So right now it's all audio, but over 200 episodes. And those, if you guys were on earlier, you saw Russ and me do that commercial. We have well over 100 commercials as well that we did for these movies.
Yeah, it's one. What are you showing?
Someone mentioned right on Bungling Bay, so I figured I'd show it.
He's like, I can pull that card out.
That's right. I got you, dog.
Sweet. Yeah, so be sure to check him out. We appreciate you having on, Mike.
No problem.
So be sure to check out the weeklywarpipe.com. And I want to give a special shout out to our top Patreon supporters, Dan and Nicole's Treasures Untold, Joe Sheevy, Trace Living Good, Samantha Chang, Rodney Torres, Retroholic 16, and Austin Mills. Again, if you want to show any support for the show, head over to patreon.com/Russ Lyman. Helps us out. And be sure to check out bullairs.com with their awesome stock of custom shoes and clothes. Thanks again, Mike, for being on.
Thanks for having me.
We'll have more guests in the future if you guys enjoyed this. Could be, once in a while we'll throw some on rather than just be me and Jay chatting it up.
Yeah, thanks for educating me on some movies. I'm clearly not the biggest movie buff.
If you want to find out some fun facts, just subscribe to Forgotten Cinema podcast.
There we go.
Perfect.
Plug.
All right, guys. As always, I'm Russ Lyman. Keep your world fun bit by bit.